Chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today I have a brand new chess engine called the Money Hacker, and it is a spectacular chess engine among chess computers. It is a highly performant chess AI, and you can visit my website named ramachess.com for more information, chess games, and quotes. In this game, I sacrifice my pieces like in a war where a king fights against his opponent and kills his enemies. So, stay tuned until the end of the video, and let's get started without wasting any time. I started the game with e4, and we have d6 on the board, where e5 and the modern variation approach can be initiated by Money Hacker. Alright, this is the plan of Money Hacker that my arrows have illustrated. Here, we have d4 to control the center, where c4 and knight to c3 can be possible. Even f4 can be played if needed. We have knight to f6 to attack the pawn, and we have knight to c3 to protect the pawn. You may ask why I didn't push forward the c4 pawn before moving the knight out. This approach gives me the opportunity to build a stable structure where I have the possibility to play alongside castle. Therefore, we have g6 and bishop to e3, where I can now play queen to d2 to prepare for a long castle. By playing bishop to h6, I can create a queen-bishop battery to attack the king side, and I can push forward my kingside pawn armies to invade black. Right, we have bishop to g7 and queen to d2 on the board to attack the bishop on the h6 square. We have castle and longside castle, both sides castling longside. This means that this game will be just like a war, where black can invade me with his pawn army on the queen side, supported by his queen and a rook. Therefore, I will push forward all my kingside armies to invade black because this position will just transcend into a war. We have c6, where b5 and a5 can be possible. f3 comes on the board, where g4 can be played, and it prevents black from invading with any pieces to attack the bishop. Money Hacker here played h5 to create some dominance over g4, but he overcommitted his pawn. This approach is very bad for him because now I can play g4 to attack the h5 pawn in the future. I played h3, preparing my attack and considering g4. The queen moves to a5 to gain access to the 5th rank and also indirectly attacks the queen and the pawn, where b5 and b4 can be possible because the dark square bishop will be wide open in a few moves. When rook to e8 comes, his major idea is to consider e5. We have knight to e2, and knight to d7 follows in the game to control the center. Alright, now I invade black with g4. This is the first strike I played on the king side. h4 cannot be possible because of queen to e1, which will lead to catastrophe. Therefore, black has to play very carefully. Money Hacker tries to hack my money by sending me a coded link in my account, but I just deleted it. I don't know why the chess engine is named Money Hacker. Maybe it wants a lot of money to become the first chess robot billionaire. In this position, black might consider b4, which looks stable. But after the knight moves, black might play c5 to invade the 5th file, where the queen is targeting the a2 pawn. The knight will just go to g3 to put pressure on the pawn, and black might think of playing e5 to put pressure on the d4 pawn. This position will be terrible for black. I can capture the pawn on c5 and then capture the pawn on h5, invading g6. Black has to capture the pawn, and now the g file will be wide open. This position will be tragic for black because I can come with a sword by riding on my elephant with bishop to h6, attacking the top. Moving the queen to g5 will be possible to test black's checkmate defense. Therefore, after the knight moves back to f8, I will play bishop to c4 to pin down the pawn. If black dares to play knight to g6, the queen can capture the knight. My knight on h5 and f5 will invade black, and my rook can come to the g1 square. The position will be terrible. After bishop to g5 arrives, attacking the bishop, and after some captures happen, I will play a bold move with rook to d6. You can see how my pieces are attacking black. Black cannot capture the bishop, and even if black dares to consider going to c7 to attack my rook, I will not play rook to d1. Instead, I will play a tragic move for black with knight to f5, attacking the king. The king cannot move back because of queen takes f6. The position will be in my hands. Even if you capture my knight, I will recapture and again capture on f5, attacking the knight. With rook to g1, this position will be completely winning for me. You will have to go home without achieving much and without winning against me. So, your dream of defeating Stockfish will be in vain. Going back, we discovered that playing moves like b4 or d4 would be a very bad choice. That's why black moved back his queen to c7, because he wanted to position his pawns to push forward all the way to a4 and b4. Therefore, I immediately struck black's position with bishop to h6. I want to exchange the bishop and the pawn to open up my rook file. Black is facing tremendous problems because my bishop comes to d3 to invade black, supported by the rook on g1 and the other rook on the h file. Black tries to block his position by playing h4, but this is a completely foolish move. You know what, money hacker? If you hack my money, I will hack your brain with queen to g5, and I will seize all your money in your bank with queen takes h4. How can you protect this? The knight moves back, and I capture the pawn. The black king is left with two bodyguards here, which is a great opportunity for me to push forward my pawns all the way to h5, f5 and e5 to open up the files and diagonals to attack the black king. How can money hacker hack this chess game? He first smiles at me and says, "Hold on, Stockfish. I have something special for you, which is bishop takes d4 to regain his pawn." No, money hacker, I am the god of chess. I can attack you back with knight to e2, and no matter if you dare to capture my knight or not or play bishop to f6, the position will be bad for you. Bishop takes knight, who will lose control over the dark squares for you and you will face tremendous problems. Therefore, if you dare to play bishop to f6, it does not matter to me, because I can now play g5, I attack the bishop, and after the bishop moves, I can play f4, threatening to consider f5 to attack the pawn. Now, if black dares to consider e6, it does not matter to me, because there is queen to g3, and in a few moves, I will play h4 to invade with h5, my knight is under attack, but it does not matter. Because pieces are just born to sacrifice themselves in their lives in war, as said by Mikhail Tal, I will sacrifice my knight in Mikhail Tal's style, and there is h5 to attack the pawn. Even if you dare to capture my pawn, I will not capture the pawn back, I will just play e5, waiting for the right moment to capture on the g6 square to gain access to the h file. Therefore, after a5 happens on the board, a good move for black would be to consider knight to f8 to protect this pawn, that is, bishop takes f8 and after capture and recapture happen on the board, the h file will be wide open, the bishop is under attack, and you have to save it, otherwise, you may lose the game. A few moves later, you can see that after playing g6, the queen will be trapped in a cage, the queen has to move back to the g8 square, which is the best move, and I will play rook to h7 to attack the bishop. Another alternative move I can play is queen to g5 to block the diagonal, where the king cannot escape through it. The pawn is also under attack, therefore, after the pawn moves, I will now play rook to h7. The money hacker would just be surprised and might be tempted to consider rook to e7, but hold on, there is rook takes g7, after you capture, I mean to say that rook takes rook is not possible because there is queen to d8, which will lead to a checkmate. The forcing move is to consider queen takes g7, and that is rook to h1 to get access to the h file. The position will be very bad for you because your other pieces are passive and very weak. Look at them, they cannot move, I mean, they cannot support the king is locked down in the toilet room and beaten up by his opponents. I will play rook to h7, attacking the queen will be harassed, and if the queen moves back, there is queen takes rook, which will lead to a checkmate. The position will be over for you. So, let me share a motivational quote in sudden with you. Sometimes, life will kick you around, but sooner or later, you realize you're not just a survivor, you're a warrior and you're stronger than anything life throws your way. Going back to the main position, we discovered that playing bishop to f6 is a very bad choice, not even bishop to g7 is possible, therefore, money hacker just hides his face in the dustbin on the h8 square. Now, you can see that with the pawns, the bishop, the queen, and the rook, I can invade black very easily, therefore, I first played e5, this is a very computer-like move, humans can't even imagine this move. It opens up my bishop's diagonal and at the same time, it forces the knight to go to e4 and gain access to the dark squares. If black dares to capture the pawn, I will play knight to e4, and a few moves later, the bishop comes, and a4 will arrive directly on the pawn to open up the queen's file. After bishop takes a4 on the board, the queen will be under attack and the knight is under attack, that is knight to c5, which can arrive on the board to create tremendous problems for black's king side, and that is h4 h5, the position will be vulnerable, and I will not show you the further variation, otherwise the video will be very long. Going back to the variation, we discovered that capturing the pawn will lead to an advantageous position for white, therefore, we now have b4, putting pressure on the knight. Here, I played my first brilliant move. Try to pause the video here and figure out what brilliant move I considered in this position. The brilliant move I considered here is knight to f4. If you find that move, then congratulations. You are the next Stockfish and probably the next Kesh boy. It sacrifices the knight on the c3 square, and black captures the knight very happily. It's like he gets my bank account debit card and my debit card PIN code, but hold on, money hacker, I will give my credit card to you. Noticing that my bishop is controlling the dark squares, the bishop and the knight together are attacking the g6 square, the queen has an open diagonal. I played a very thunderous move, knight takes g6, sacrificing the knight right on the board. Black again accepts the knight's sacrifice, because whoever the hell would not accept any sacrifice? This is a free knight, would you not capture it? After exchanges occur, the rook is under attack, and black's king is facing a crisis because he has no pawn bodyguards. Also, the pawn on b2 is under attack. If you are glad, more than a fat man who loves to eat chips, I will play a tragic move for you. The king is suppressed by the bishop. I will play bishop to f7, sacrificing another piece. I sacrificed 3 pieces in a row with brilliant moves. Have you ever seen these sacrifices? I don't think so, because nobody can match my powers. After you capture it, there is queen to h5 check, the king is facing problems, and after checks and captures occur, the game will be checkmated. Going back to the variation, we discovered that capturing the pawn would lead to a bad position. That's why we have bishop to e6, to protect the f7 square. I played g5 to protect the bishop and, at the same time, position some threats. Money hacker tries to win my pawn on the e5 square, but hold on, money hacker, I will hack all your money, because your king is facing tragic problems. There is f4, putting pressure on the bishop has no squares to go to. And even if the bishop goes to the h8 square, I will just capture the knight on h7, forcing your king to capture. After g6, the black king's side is exposed, and a few moves later, this will lead to a checkmate. After queen h5 and queen to g6, this will lead to a checkmate. Subscribe and like for more videos, and go to rameshes.com to get my videos and games. Going back to the original, we discovered that moving the bishop to the h8 square would be a very bad choice. That's why we have queen to b8, to gain access to this diagonal. At the same time, he sacrifices his bishop himself, but I am not interested in your dumb bishop, I am interested in your king. Stay focused on your dreams and goals, don't be distracted by any short-term pleasures. After capturing the knight on the h7 square, it forces your king to capture, and after g6 happens on the board, you can see that I showed you the variation where king takes g6 would be a very bad choice. That's why the king just moved back here, and here. Think a little bit. What is the best move I should consider in this position? Should I capture the bishop on e5? Let's analyze this variation. If I capture the bishop, he can sacrifice his other bishop on a2, forcing my king out. Then, there's queen to a6 followed by pawn takes b2. Look at this position, queen to a1 will lead to checkmate. At the same time, my pieces are not positioned well enough to attack black effectively. Black is apparently very safe and secure here. If I capture the pawn, there's knight to c4 check, which will force my king into a precarious position and I will lose all the advantages I had. Therefore, pawn takes bishop is a very bad choice. I cannot afford to make such a blunder on the board. That's why I am the world champion, and you are just an inferior human compared to me. I don't know why, or how, nature created humans, but humans created something far more intelligent, robots and AI, which are much smarter than humans. Anyway, in this position, we have b3 to completely secure my king's side. Black cannot invade my king's position, and that's the chess tip I want to share with you. Never rush to attack black recklessly, defend your king securely. Your king is everything. After the bishop moves, we play f5, after the capture and recapture, black should capture the pawn on g6, however, black made a mistake by capturing the bishop on g7 instead. This is exactly what I teach my subscribers. Never rush to accept sacrifices without assessing the consequences, always secure your king first, but Money Hacker isn't my subscriber, and that's why he blundered. Now, this mistake gives me an opportunity to deliver checks to black's king, which is already facing significant problems. There's rook to e4, and then bishop to e4 comes on the board. At this point, I played my final brilliant move. Can you guess what it was? The move I played here was rook takes e4, sacrificing the rook like a champ. Don't yell like Gotham chess, I hate the Joker. The black king is now stranded in the center of the board. I played a4, and in a few moves, the position became completely winning for me. I could checkmate black in just 20 moves, but as the game progressed, the king attempted to hide on the a3 square. The kings fought each other on the board, and after queen to e3, I captured the pawn. There was a possibility of checkmating black right there. A few moves later, black sacrificed his queen on h3, having no other choice. After that, I delivered a series of checks and black blocked them with the rook. We played king to b2, and rook to a1 was coming. In a few moves, another check followed and I checkmated Money Hacker. With that, I became the chess league winner by defeating him. I hope you enjoyed the game. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye, take care and see you soon.